Welcome to the Athena Wellness Podcast, the show that invites you to take a seat around the community fire and listen to stories that inspire. I'm your host, Kathy Robinson, author, coach, and founder of Athena Wellness, a company that's dedicated to supporting you on your journey to live more wholeheartedly. Hello, and welcome to episode 92. Thanks so much for joining me for this shortened Wellness Wednesday episode, a little midweek boost to help keep your warrior vibe high. Today I'm joined once again by Kelly Mackin, the co-founder of Motives Met, a well-being assessment tool used to create a work life that's well-lived. During this discussion, Kelly shares some practical steps that listeners can take to create a work life they're enthusiastic about. And now on to the show. I hope you enjoy the conversation. So once again, I'm joined by Kelly Mackin, the co-founder of Motives Met, an assessment aimed at creating well-being in our work lives. Welcome back, Kelly.
Thank you.
So I'd love to explore some practical steps that listeners can take to create the work life that they're enthusiastic about. So assuming someone has taken the assessment and they realize they're a little out of balance, what steps can they take to bring themselves back into alignment with their own motives?
Well, I think it's really looking at your motives individualistically and then holistically. So, we give you this great work wellness check-in with each of your motives, which are all these guided questions for reflection. And it's my favorite part of the results because it really gets you to start thinking about those motives in a different way and how you're empowered to better meet them. So when you go through each of those questions, you can have this different understanding. And then you go, okay, well, what is in my control to change? What do I want to change? How do I want to change it? And you can also look at where do I need support? And can I see if those people will support me and help me, right? Because the first step is asking and doing, right? And taking that first step. So once you've gone through them individualistically, you can also look at them at a bigger picture. So how do I feel about these 5 together? Am I okay that this motive is a little bit less strong because this motive's thriving? Is this something I just want to keep in mind as I make decisions so I make better decisions and it's okay where it's at? So it's just kind of going through this process of really thinking about your motives because it's not something that we typically do every day.
Mm-hmm. Can you give an example of maybe one of your motives and a question that you were working or holding or meditating on and how something has changed as a result?
Sure. Well, I have the future success motive as one of my motives. And I love the work wellness check-in question we have that is think about the future self, your future self who has everything in your work life you want, right? Whatever that future success looks like for you, whatever those goals are. Who is that person? How do they act? What do they eat every day? What do they wear? What do they do? What don't they do? What do they think? How do they feel at work? How do they feel after work? And then how do you become that person now to create that future you want? Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's how do you create your future? Well, you create your future by becoming that person now. Mm-hmm. So that was just a big question for me to start to get really clear on how is that person different from me today and how every day can I just try to show up as that person when I literally just go, how would future Kelly Mackin handle this? It can change everything for me. So that was just a big one that I constantly think about.
Mm-hmm. And I love that from a wellness perspective because it's taking those individual choices of the quote unquote, the things you know you should do. It makes it real. You're not doing it because somebody else is saying you should do it. You're doing it because it's getting you closer to the person that you want to become.
Yes, absolutely. And again, it's like, would I have normally taken the time to sit there and think of that? No, I wouldn't have even probably thought of that question. So it really is, it's taking, if we want well-being, we also have to sit there and create it in our lives. We can't just expect it to come to us. We have to be active in creating that life that we want to create. And so really giving the time to think through those motives and then figuring out both from a cognitive and behavioral standpoint, what do I want to do to keep these healthier, to help these thrive more? it's simple, but it's something we just don't do. And that's part of why we created the tool to help people do that.
Perfect. Then we'll link that up in the show notes. And once again, I really appreciate your time, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Thanks. This was wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I know there are many ways you can spend your time. Thank you for choosing to spend it with me. Until our paths cross again, be kind to yourself and show your warrior spirit some love. If you know anyone who could benefit from today's episode, please pass it on. And many thanks for supporting the show by subscribing and leaving a review. It means a lot, and it helps others find their way to our circle. If you'd like to access the show notes, have a question you'd like addressed on a future episode, or would like a transcript of this episode, visit www.athenawellness.com/podcast. Until next time, be well.